So welcome back, everyone. We're live on Facebook, so I do want to say hi to everybody out there. We've actually been live this whole show, and I forgot to say it when I first opened up the show. My next guest has also been on with me for a really long time, and I always tell people that I saved the first paper that I've ever used on him since 2019. He's been with me doing this show. I have with me Mike Salazar, and he's the owner of Pass Fire Protection. Welcome back to the show. I want you to tell everybody what PASS means.
Well, PASS means pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. It's the acronym that we use for fire extinguisher training and to teach people how to use fire extinguishers. So we just thought it would be a cool name to do, so if people ask you about it, you'd be able to explain it.
I'll tell you something right now. How many people, except here on Networking Arizona, would know that you could be taught how to use a fire extinguisher correctly?
Oh no, not many. People just look at it and they assume that they know how to use it, and then you really start talking to them and it is a little bit more confusing than they imagined or thought. You know, so it's always good to get your hands on it, and even if you do know, it's good to practice. Like anything else, do it periodically so that you do remember, because when you're going to need it, you're not going to be thinking about all the steps. You want it to just be a natural flow.
Now there is steps to this. This is what's interesting. Pull, aim, sweep. Pull, aim, what?
Squeeze.
Squeeze. I forgot to see. I already forgot. And that would have been bad if there was a fire.
Well, no. I mean, I talk to people all the time. One person told me, yeah, I know it's pull. Pull it off the wall. I was like, well, yeah, we're assuming that you're pulling it off the wall, but that pull, if you don't pull the pull pin, you're not going to be able to get the extinguisher to work.
Yeah,
so,
you see why it's good to listen to this show? You learn a lot of things.
Yeah.
So it's pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. So I want you to explain to them how somebody, really quickly, I want you to understand how you do it correctly. Because a lot of people, when they go to aim, they aim wrong.
Yeah, number one, they hold it wrong. So you get this extinguisher off the wall and it weighs maybe more than you thought it was going to weigh. So you grab the handle with your hand. You're not supposed to grab the entire handle. You just want to grab the bottom handle so that you can actually pull that pin out. Because if you squeeze the handle, you're squeezing the pin, and when you go to pull the pin, it's not going to come out. So you just want to, hold the extinguisher, either put it on the ground and hold it, or hold it by the bottom handle. You're going to want to pull that pull pin out. You're going to squeeze the hand, aim it at the base of the fire, and then you're going to squeeze the handle and sweep back and forth. And you don't want to use the whole extinguisher all at once. You want to just squeeze and let go, squeeze, let go. Because if you ever use one of these, you'll see what kind of mess it really makes and how much smoke and dust, and you can choke yourself out. And
also, did you hear him say that you aim it underneath the fire?
Yeah, at the base of the fire, not at the fire. It'll just go right through it.
I'm the first one that would do that wrong, especially when I'm nervous. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to open up the lines to the audience for everyone to be able to call in and get entered in to win a fire extinguisher. Now, let me tell you something, folks. First of all, I think if anybody's a realtor, they should talk to him, and you should get a fire extinguisher for every person that you do business with. I'm sure. I just think that.
Oh, absolutely.
Anybody that's getting married, buying a house, I think everybody should have one. But there's also people that, you're just living at home and you have an old fire extinguisher.
Correct. So there's people that come to us all the time and they're like, hey, can you service this? And we look at it and it's like, ooh, man, this is super old. You have to get rid of it. Or maybe it's made with some plastic parts that you can't really service. But yeah, people just don't know until they hear something like this, or they see us driving by, or they see one that we have, and then they'll start asking a lot of questions. Or when we do give training, a lot of people will say, hey, I got some of these at my house. It's like, bring them in, let's look at them, let's make sure that they're going to work, because it's nothing worse than thinking you have something, then you go to use it and it doesn't work. And when you're going to use this, you want it to work.
Right, and what makes yours different? Let's talk about that.
Well, they're commercial grade, so they're a little bit more heavy duty, and they have metal parts so that you can service them year after year after year instead of having to get rid of them and buy something new, get rid of it and buy something new. Because when you get rid of it, nobody knows how to do that either. You can't just throw a live fire extinguisher into the trash.
You can't throw a battery in the trash. Yeah. How can you throw that in the trash?
Exactly. You don't want this pressurized thing in the trash can, so you got to get rid of it. So it's better if you don't get rid of it, you just service it.
And yours are serviceable,
yes.
Right? And that's then you put back what was taken out, correct?
Yes, or we get a new, if you're out, like if you used your extinguisher, you come to us, we can fill it back up with proper agent and then pressurize it So it'll be ready to be used again.
So we've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered in to win a fire extinguisher. Our number here is 602-277-5369. I know what happened to my voice.
But also, I just wanted to say too that it's good to keep these up so that you can help your neighbors, help other people in cars, or sometimes even the fire department, when they show up, they will take some of the extinguishers from nearby businesses or places and use them as well to help fight fires so that they don't have a lot of damage to the hoses and the water that they use.
Let me give out the number again. I'm going to try and get it out, guys. It's 602-277-5369. So, fire extinguishers, where should we have them?
Well, we should have them somewhere that we know where they're at. So ideally, you want to have them in your garage where you store a lot of paints and solvents and chemicals for your lawn. You want to have one probably next to your barbecue grills, because those propane tanks, you never know when those are going to go up in fire, or whatever you're cooking might go in fire and catch your house on fire. You also want to have one around your kitchen area just so that you can easily put out a fire. But wherever you have it, just make sure you know where it's at and that you can access it.
Right, and that it's not used up already, because a lot of those that you've had for a long time are probably all dried up.
Yeah, dried up, or the pin might have fell out and it might have discharged some of the agent. You just got to look at it, maintain it, and just keep it present. If you use it right at your grill, and you use your grill as often as I do, you're always going to be looking at it, so it's a good thing to know.
But you should have it in your garage. You should have it on your boats if you're still out using it on your boat. You should have it in your car.
Your recreational vehicles, like those fancy four-wheel vehicles they drive all over the place, those Can-Ams and stuff like that, you should have one on there. It's an expensive piece of equipment to just have burn up.
So you can call him direct. His number is 602-833-9117. You can check him out on his website. It's passfireprotection.com. He's rated with the Better Business Bureau. And folks, we've got our lines open here for everyone. Everyone's getting entered in to win a fire extinguisher, and they're not the ones you can buy on Amazon.
No.
On Prime Day, right?
Yeah.
They're not the same.
Or not the ones that you're going to get for very cheap.
So the most important thing is that you know how to use it, knowing where it is.
Yes.
And you come to people's homes and you literally can teach them that. Is this correct?
Yes, we can absolutely teach people how to use them. And in fact, we want to, so that everybody has an opportunity to protect themselves while they're at their house.
So not only when you're in your home, but you also do some fire protection and safety education classes for people who own businesses as well.
Yes, primarily we work in the commercial industry for commercial property owners, for commercial buildings, restaurants, food trucks, different facilities like that. That's where a lot of the business comes from, but we also try to work with as many residents as possible. The hard part about residents is they don't know about it, or nobody mandates it. So it's up to them to initiate their own sprinkler system. They have sprinkler systems in houses, and I don't know if everybody's ever going to look at those, but they should have somebody go look at that. It's like you pay for this thing, and if it's not going to work, what good is it?
Right, but here's the thing, nobody does know about stuff like this, that they can hear it on my show, and that's what I love the most about it. That we have things here that people have never even realized that you need. And everybody does need to have a very well working fire extinguisher, definitely in your homes, in your offices, in your cars. We're seeing cars going up in flames. Big giant Twixes are going up in flames. I mean, no matter where you look, there's things that are happening, and you want to be prepared, and I think that's what it's all about.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what about those things that make your house smell good for a while there? Those
air fresheners?
Yeah, you're plugging them in. They're catching on fire. People are plugging their cars in. Those
Teslas are going on fire.
Yeah, so you never know when it's going to happen. You just want to be prepared for it.
Look what happened to Jay Leno. We've said it before. Yep. I know people have had that fire started in the garage. They didn't have the fire extinguisher there. The whole house went down. Yep. Also, I've seen people that work that are doing their barbecuing on the weekend. I know somebody who's blew up in his face. This is terrible, folks, and that's why you want to be prepared. Call in here and get entered in to win a fire extinguisher. Our number here is 602-277-5369. It's passfireprotection.com. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute. I'm sorry, I almost lost it there.
No, it's not. You're going to make a joke about Halloween candy or something.
I almost wanted to say my throat is on fire. But I didn't do it. Okay, so we're still live in here For you, when you come to people's homes, first of all, I want to know, and we're probably going to have to talk about this on here too, how often should they have a fire extinguisher serviced?
Oh, they should have it serviced. Well, they should have it looked at by them or somebody at least once a year, and then serviced every 6 years like
Right.
every other one.
No, people don't do that,
Yeah.
do they?
Well,
And-
nobody mandates it, so no fire marshal or no insurance company is going to be like, hey, you need to make sure this is done. That's the problem.
Right,
So-
and tell them what the difference is between a fire extinguisher that they might even already have compared to what you bring to them.
Oh, yeah. But the biggest thing is, like I said, a lot of people buy the inexpensive ones that have plastic handles, they have plastic pull pins. So some of those pull pins are hard to pull out, or they
break
cut
off.
your finger a little bit, yeah. Or they're just gonna get stuck, or the plastic gets hard in this heat too. If you have it out in the heat, it deteriorates, plastic. So it's better to have the metal that's more rigid, more reliable.
I think, when I think about fire extinguishers and when people have them, I know for a fact they don't look at them, they don't,
Yeah.
they don't even know where they are, or even if it's one under the sink, it's been there for like 20 years and it probably doesn't work.
No, they won't find it until they start cleaning out. Like, oh, I'm gonna go clean my garage. Like, oh yeah, I forgot I had this, or clean out their cabinets or whatever. There's attics.
Right,
They might then find it. That's usually what happens.
thank you.
But yeah, I mean, nobody thinks about it because they think about everything that they do normally. That's it. So we go home and we might cook, we might clean, we might watch TV, we might read,
Yeah.
do yard work, but we're not thinking about fires.
No, but it's so easily for a fire to start. And, because I remember I was cooking a sausages, okay? And I had the lid on top of it to go a little faster, to
Yeah.
get done, right? Well, it got watery, and
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but the next thing I knew, the thing just started, it went right up towards the ceiling,
Yeah.
And I happen to have a microwave over mine, but some people don't. But oh my God, it went big fast.
Yeah.
I was very surprised,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
thank God nothing happened, but that was not a good situation.
Well, the other thing too, when you talk about a home, is I've been to a lot of my friends' house and family house, and I walk in, the first thing I notice is all the smoke detectors are off, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? It's like, oh, that thing was beeping, so they take them off, they don't put the batteries, they leave them off. It's like, but this is here for a reason. It's not to annoy you, but to help you guys. It's like, oh yeah, I'll get back to it, and they never put it back on. I'm
right,
like,
they forget
oh,
about
you gotta put it
They're
back on.
out of the battery, they don't
Yeah.
try it.
They take it down, they leave it, unplugged or throw it away.
Oh, here we go. How fast. So welcome back, everyone. We've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered in to win a fire extinguisher. I know that sounds like it's like, oh, well, what's a fire extinguisher? Everyone who has a home, everyone who lives in an apartment, I don't care what you're doing, you
Yep.
should have a working good quality fire extinguisher. Whether you've got it in your garage, you should have one there. In your office, you should have it at your place of business. You should have it in your cars. You should have it on your boats. There isn't anywhere, really. I mean, people, where there's fire, where there's smoke, there's fire, and it's not good.
Yeah, exactly. And you brought up a good point. I just thought about this. People in apartments, apartments will supply extinguishers, but sometimes they only put them out there in the vestibules.
Oh, yeah.
They're not in your apartment. So if you have something that's happening inside your apartment, you have to remember to go out, figure out where the extinguisher is, and then go all the way back in. That's a lot of lost time.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. And I was just explaining to Mike that something that happened to me. I was cooking some sausages, trying to make it go fast. I put the little cover over it and it got some water in there. Somehow or another, the next thing I knew, whoof, it just went up so fast. And luckily for me, it didn't shoot out at me, it went
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
And oh my God, it was so fast. How bad. That could have burned me so bad. It would have been worse. It would have been
exactly.
terrible.
Yeah, it does happen fast. It doesn't just linger and linger and linger, and then you have
Right.
time.
It
A lot
just
of times
goes.
Yep, exactly.
And I tell you something, it can be very scary. We've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered in to win a fire extinguisher. For anyone that just tuned in, his fire extinguishers are different. Tell them what they're like.
Ours are different because they're metal. They're made with metal, so that the parts aren't going to break as easy. They're not going to get damaged in the heat or the sun. They're not going to become brittle. They're actually
They
very
actually
good
work.
moving parts. Yeah.
And they're going to be something that you can count on. And these are different because I had asked you at the break how many times somebody should service their fire extinguishers. And yes, you should service your fire extinguishers.
Oh, absolutely. You should be looking at them once a year, or have somebody look at it once a year, and for sure every 6 years you got to get them serviced.
And let me just tell you something, folks. Let me just tell you. If you don't, when you have to know how to use it, which is he'll teach you how to do that, and he'll also have to know that it isn't dried up, because most of the ones that you have, you think you probably have one and you're okay, you're probably not. So call in here and get entered in to win this fire extinguisher. Maybe it's you or someone that you know. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Pass. Fireprotection.com. Pass is for pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. And I want to talk about that. We've talked about people having them in their cars. How important is that?
I think it's very important, just because we see a lot of car fires. Even when we're driving, we see other cars that are on fire, or maybe even the landscaping. You know, they're always talking about people throwing their cigarettes out and it catches on fire. Next thing you know, you got forest burning down from just one cigarette or something like that. But if you could put that fire out before it gets too big, how much better is that for all of us?
Right, and if you know how to use it, you're not going to be as scared, because listen, that is what happens. The minute, I know for me, the minute it went up like that, I was like, holy, you know what, you know?
Yeah.
And okay, so that's another thing, is that you do help people so that they know what they're doing, right?
Yes.
So that when that, God forbid, happens, they got it under control faster and easier than someone who doesn't.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why we're saying just thinking about it and acting on it and practicing, you know, going over it in your mind mentally and then physically, just knowing where everything is and practicing. That way when it goes up that fast and you're startled, you actually will react to it and know what to do, instead of trying to figure out, or, you know, panicking and not knowing what to do. You'll know what to do, and it'll be helpful for you and your house and kids, family.
Everybody should have one. I don't know why they don't. Well, I think they make it mandatory in certain things, maybe, but not all. And can you imagine? Yeah, I know you might have one at the somewhere in your apartment building, but where the heck is it, right? Even in your businesses, you said most people don't even. Some people might have them. They don't even know where they are.
Well, absolutely, and everybody works somewhere. If you're not working from home, there's going to be extinguishers there, and the principle still stays the same. Most people at businesses don't even know how to use them, so when we do go train people, they're all like, yeah, and then you say, okay, we'll use it, and then they don't. You know, they don't know how to use it. It's like,
or they can't get that. They're trying to pull, and they're not getting that out of there. That little what did you call it? What's that part?
The pin.
The pin. The pin is the hardest thing to get out, and if it's plastic and it's been there for a long time, guarantee you it's breaking in your hand. And now what?
Well, and the plastic's even hard on your hand because it digs into your hand. So now it's hurting when you're trying to pull it out. You know, it's not like the smooth steel or metal. But yeah, so if you don't know how to use it at your house, you're not going to know how to use it at work, where there are some, and so, you know, you're at a disadvantage.
So if you, and I do think that realtors should partner with you.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. I think it would be a great idea to give everybody that closes on a house a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, because they're always probably thinking of some kind of gift, you know, to reward them with, and this would be the perfect gift.
And you know what's really perfect about it too? It's a conversation piece.
Yeah.
Can you imagine going to a housewarming and bringing a fire extinguisher all wrapped up really pretty with a nice big bow on it? You want to know something? You're actually giving them the best gift you probably could ever give them.
Absolutely, because you're helping them protect their investment.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They're going to have this for 30 years. You might as well have something to help keep it there for 30 years.
Exactly. So again, we've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered in to win. It's a fire extinguisher, and our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free is 1-866-536-1100. So they are required to get inspected, or do businesses?
For commercial businesses, but not residential. In residential, nobody enforces anything. Like I said, if you have a sprinkler system in your house, they don't enforce getting it inspected. But although we have to inspect in commercial because that's where a lot of people are gathering. But if it's important for us to inspect these things in the commercial where you work, it's just as important for these things to get inspected at your home where you live.
Where you live. You know, too, I want to talk about some of the things that you do when you come into the businesses and how you can help them to understand how to use fire extinguishers, but it's much more. Tell them what you do.
Oh yes, we talked about the fire extinguishers when we're there, and we want to instruct the people on how to use them and know where they're at and the importance of them. We also talk about their fire sprinkler systems that are in there. We'll show them what to do in the case of emergencies for those situations. We talk about fire alarm systems, what to do when you hear the fire alarm going off. It's not sit in your office and complain about how loud it is. It's like, get out of the building. There's a
How
reason why
many
it's going
people
on.
do that?
Oh, all the time. Nobody wants to leave. You know, they always think it's a false alarm.
They gotta make another phone call.
Yeah, and they're annoyed. They're annoyed about how loud that alarm is, and it's like, well,
It's
what
there
should
for
you
a
be
reason.
doing? Yeah, it's not meant to keep you in the building. It's meant to get you out of there. So, you know, we're always going into these places and trying to educate people on the equipment that they have, why it's there, why it's important, and why to keep it up.
You know, I was just thinking about this too. We're coming around, oh my gosh, the holidays
Already.
are around the corner. And you
Yep.
think about this, number one, for a great gift to give to someone, but two, think about all of the cooking that's gonna be done. A lot of people now are deep frying those turkeys. So please, please, please have a fire extinguisher near you. Also, and I've seen them go up. I saw one go up really big on, I think on television one time. They were trying to show how cool it was, and it went up on
Oh,
fire.
yeah.
You know, and then also we've got the holidays, which all the lights and all the wiring and all the trees that are so dry. I know you might even buy a real tree, but guess what? They're probably dried out before you even buy it.
Oh yeah,
today.
candles. Everybody's buying candles.
Mm-hmm. You know, so there's a really good reason to have them in your home, in your office, on your boat, by the side of your barbecue, and also in your cars. I don't know if I said that one too.
Oh yeah,
Anyway.
cars, yeah. And if you have halogen lights, I don't know if a lot of people still have those, but there was a time when these lights were just getting tipped over by kids and then touching the apartment and catching things on fire too. So, you know, we don't know when a fire's going to start.
You know
We
what?
just
You're
want-
so right with that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I have a friend. She's a client of mine too, but we talk, right?
Yeah.
She told me a story that her son, it was her son at 2 years old, didn't know what he was doing, playing in his room. She thought everything was fine. It was a little quiet. He had gotten a matchbox, okay, and he lit something on fire, and he's 2 years old.
Yeah.
And guess what? He ran out of the house because he was scared to death, and her house burned down.
Oh, I can imagine.
They didn't have a fire extinguisher,
Yep.
and I know that there might be some times when it might have gotten too big, but still, let me tell you something, folks. How much can they do for when if they see it and it's just getting started? How much better is it?
Oh, it's a
You
lot
know the
better.
statistics.
Yeah, because you can pretty much put it out. You can put that fire out and only have a little bit of damage from the agent of the extinguisher itself and whatever a little bit was burned. But if you wait or you wait for somebody else to come, there's a lot of damage. And not only your insurance will probably pay for it a lot, but people don't understand that you still have to make your mortgage payment when you're not even in your house.
Oh yeah. They
don't
don't
just
say,
pay
don't
it
worry
off.
about it.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's hard to get insurance after that because you have this huge claim. And so it's not something you really want to experience. You
So
don't
be
have to.
prepared. Be
Yes.
prepared, but have a good fire extinguisher, not just one of those little ones, those dinky ones that they have, or, you know, don't buy it on Amazon. Get it from somebody who sells them, that they, you know, these are good quality ones that everyone's getting entered in to win a fire extinguisher from him. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free is 1-866-536-1100. If you have a business and you want to have them come in and, you know, maybe you're going to do an inspection for them, you can do that. You can teach your employees what to do, where is it, how to save people and get them out of a bad situation.
Absolutely.
You can call him direct. His number is 602-833-9117. He's statewide. He's rated with the Better Business Bureau. Don't forget, if you have a food truck, I know you work with people
Yep.
that have food trucks and things like that. Everybody should have a good working fire extinguisher. Call in here at 602-277-5369. You can check him out on his website. It's passfireprotection.com. It means pull, aim,